Alright guys, I wanted to make one last video today. Sorry I'm sweating a little bit. Been jogging, trying to stay in shape as we all stay home. But this video is going to be about the two main reasons that the metaphorical war is being won by the left right now. And I'm talking about the war that started about 4 months ago. It's been an information war. With misleading information coming from both media and social media. The left controls all of the big name media. Even Fox News is owned by Disney now. So really, I've completely tuned out and stopped paying attention to it at all. I get most of my news from things like YouTube, from people who are on the ground where things are happening, first person accounts of what's going on. But here's the problem. Here's why the right has been losing this fight. Two main reasons. Reason number one, the right believes in freedom basically above everything else. Like if you could sum it down to actual core beliefs, the left is control, the right is freedom. So why is the right's love of freedom a bad thing in this information war? It's not a bad thing overall, it's just a bad thing in this war on information and media. Because the right will never deny the left a chance to speak. We believe in freedom so much that we will let somebody speak against us and try to convince other people to take our freedoms away. This was very obvious during all of the protesting, especially in CHOP, whatever you want to call it, where people would come and people from the right would try to speak their mind and they would get shouted down by people on the left. And the same thing happens on social media in the sense that, I can say something that a leftist disagrees with and the leftist will immediately turn into personal attacks. If the left says something I don't agree with, I either come back with facts or I admit that I don't have enough, ground to stand on in that arena. It's even more disgusting when we look at big picture social media. Because big picture social media, the people who control the Facebooks, the Twitters, the YouTubes, they straight up delete and ban right-wing speech they don't like. And if there's a right-wing platform, which there's not a big one right now, there are some, but there's no mainstream right-wing platforms. If there was, they would never ban the leftists calling for communism, calling for wearing a mask, calling for lockdown orders. They would never get banned or silenced. And that's where the right is losing. We refuse to shut down somebody's First Amendment right to free speech or to protest or to own a firearm. But the left is very willing to take those rights away from us. So that's reason one. Reason two is that the left is very collectivist. They're very group oriented. They like being in a group. They don't like being alone. You very rarely see the one person from the left standing alone in a group of right-wing people, right? So you'll see like the right, and sometimes not the good right, white supremacists or stuff will go out and they'll do their rallies, and the left will show up in a counter protest with hundreds of people. The left shows up to protest and the right shows up to counter protest, sometimes just as a single person with a cell phone and a sign. So the left is very collectivist, they're very group oriented, they get their energy and their momentum from being in a group of people. Whereas the right, we are very individualist. It ties along with the freedom that we like. We like being individuals, we like our space, we like our freedoms, and we respect other people's space and their freedoms. And the reason that's hurt us in the last 4 months is that the right has not organized any kind of movement in a large scale to bring people together. And that's been a detriment to us because we don't have the volume of voices standing up together to argue against these things like the masks and the lockdowns and the protests. So these are core beliefs if you're somebody who's more on the right side of the spectrum. And I will say this, we've got more people on the right than they realize right now. And I'm saying some people don't even realize they're on the right. I've never voted for a Republican president in my life. My voting has gone Democrat, Libertarian. I'm only 32, so this will be the 4th presidential election that I vote in. And this will be the first time I vote Republican. And I will admit that my views have changed some over the last 12 years. I have shifted slightly more to the right, but I've always been very freedom-oriented. I'm very socially liberal. I don't care who marries who. I don't care who has a gun. I don't care who votes. I think everybody should have freedom to do all those things. The problem is America, as a society, has shifted so far left that I have basically gone from aligning left-center to lining moderately to the right. It's been a weird shift to witness over my time, because about the time I started voting was about the time I started prepping. So what I've prepped for, all of those things have shifted over the years. But I digress. I'm rambling now. The whole point of this video was the right needs to hold on to its core beliefs, that of freedom and individuality, while at the same time realizing that if we're going to be able to stop this thing before it becomes a kinetic war, meaning if we stop it and win the information war before bullets start flying, that would be best for everybody. The world does not need a reset. We don't have to burn it to the ground to rebuild it. This still is the greatest country that's ever been created, and we need to fight for that. But that doesn't mean go clean your guns, load up your mags, and get ready for the bullets. It means get up and share your voice now. Start meeting people who think like you. We're more connected now on the internet than we've ever been before, right? You don't have to have a neighbor who thinks the way you do to have these conversations. We just spent the last 4 months working remotely. You could do a Zoom meeting once a week with your intellectual mag, and still get, those conversations that we need to be having, that intellectual exercise and that reassurance that our way of thinking is the best way of thinking. And I promise you it is. Communism is not the answer. Government control is not the answer. But we've got to fight back against those things now in the information war, so that we can save lives and save this country. Because if what just happened over the last 4 months keeps going, and we keep losing the information war, this thing's going to go hot sooner than we or anybody wants it to. And, I kind of enjoy the simplicities of life. I enjoy going to work. I enjoy having running water and electricity. I enjoy not getting shot at. I do. I don't want to draw my gun in anger or self-defense if I don't have to. And I think that if we still got time to win this thing the peaceful way, but we have to realize what our faults are, right? The enemy is striking where we're weakest. So now we have to understand our own weakness and adjust. So our weakness is our love of freedom and our willingness to be individuals. So, how do we fix that? We can't take away anybody else's freedom and still value freedom. Fight for freedom anywhere is fight for freedom everywhere. So, we have to value other people's freedom, let them have the ability to speak, but don't back down. And don't go down to their level either. No insults, no attacking them personally, just sharing ideas and debating with them. You may not be able to beat the ignorant person in your face screaming and hollering and yelling, but those other people watching, you can win them over. So, stand up for your own freedoms, respect their freedoms, but beat them in an open debate. Step 2 to winning this fight, this information war, is start linking up with people who are like-minded with you. As you do number 1 with your friends and family, politely, like I said, never attacking, never personal attacks. You'll find out some people have been reading a lot over the last 4 months. They've been watching a lot over the last 4 months, and they're willing to make that shift to where you are. They just need a leader, and you can be that leader. So organize that intellectual alliance. So when these things do start happening, these people trying to raise taxes, these people trying to vote away your rights, you can show up with your group, air your grievances, and vote them down, because you have the majority now. You have that collective that thinks that the right is right. So, hope this has been a little bit inspirational and a little bit informative. If nothing else, just gave you a little thought nugget for you to dwell on for the next couple of days. I appreciate you coming by and watching the video. Hope to see you around. Thanks for watching.